I'm starting with a blank vault. Just make sure I don't miss any settings. What we're going to do today is we are going to go through all the legwork and admin related to setting up your daily note and your daily note templates. So we're going to run through a couple of the community plugins that you need and also make some changes to our preference of how we want things to look. First things first, let's go to settings, let's go to appearance, and let's change this to light. And there's a couple of things we'll need. First, we'll need a new folder, and we'll just call this journal. And within the journal, we'll create another folder called daily notes, daily. Let's keep it as daily. Next thing, we want to create a templates folder. So let's create a new folder called templates. Within the templates folder, we would want our daily note template. You can see by default Obsidian creates a heading. I don't like that, so I'm going to switch it off. Your preference, obviously. And we're just going to go to appearance and we're going to say show inline title. We're going to switch it off. Discord. And I'm going to switch it off. The reason why I'm switching it off is because we're going to use template code in order to have the heading a little bit more down, because with the default it's only at the top and I want my YAML front-end matter to be at the top. So how that would look, or the code of how that would look, is you will have in our template, we'll have three little dashes, three little dashes, and in between you can specify be date, created, date, updated, for instance, and there we go. So we have a YAML, and only after the YAML I want my title. And the way you do that is through template code. We're going to say hashtag for heading 1, and we're going to use this code. This code will not work yet because we don't have the proper community plugins installed yet. So let's go to the community plugins. Settings, we want to first of all disable daily notes and templates. The reason why we're disabling it is because the community plugins that we are going to install does exactly the same thing, but when both are activated, it causes some issues. So we just want to make sure there's no bugs that creep up in our process. So core plugins, we want to disable daily notes. We are going to disable templates. I'm going to go to community plugins. I'm going to say turn on community plugins if it's not turned on yet. I'm going to say browse. And the first thing that we need is, let's first have the calendar. So type in calendar and select the one with the most downloads, 490,000, noise, and install and enable. So now if we go back to our homepage, we can see that the calendar plugin should be here. I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the calendar community plugin. I'm going to say show me the week number, and here you can specify how you want the week to look, what format you want it to look. For me, that's fine. Start week on Sunday, your preference. Cool. Next one is going to be template. So template is a community plugin which you can use inline code. So on a new note creation, you specify it, hey, on the creation of this note, I want to capture the current time, or I want to capture the heading, or I want to capture any other type of code. This is what you'll use. So let's install it and let's go to enable and let's go to options. So there's a couple of things that we want. Templates folder location, we want to specify which is our templates folder, and we're going to say templates. And then the next thing that we need to make sure is activated is trigger templater on new file creation. So this just shows that if you create a new file and you specify it to use templater, then it would create it instead of having to click Control P to go to the command palette and then click on templater and click which template you want to use, and it does it automatically with the calendar plugin as well. So cool. Anything else needs to change? Probably not, but we'll see. And then lastly, we want periodic notes. So community plugin, actually I'm interested to see if this would work without the periodic notes. So we have a daily note template, and let's try and create a new file from the calendar and see if it works. If it doesn't, then we just need to install the periodic notes. So let's just click on 25, create. Okay, so it does not work yet. So let's just make sure that our settings, templates, cool. Okay, go to community plugins, go to browse, go to periodic notes and install. So this does the same thing that daily notes would have done. click enable, click options, and let's for now switch on daily notes. Later we'll switch on the weekly notes. Okay, so format is fine. Daily notes template, the only one that we have. And where do we want to save it? We want to save it under daily, so let's just click here, and now it should be fine. So let's just delete this note that we created, and let's try and recreate it and see if it has the heading. Great success. Okay, so that is the most simplistic way of getting your templates up and running. And what we are going to do now is we will create a structure which you'll use in your everyday life if you use the daily notes structure first. And then once we have this template, meaning we have a blank canvas to start on every day, we'll then go into the different MOCs, which information is derived from our daily notes. So let's get into it. So a couple of things that we want to see on our daily log or daily note is the date. So that is the name of the file. We then want to see or have an easy navigational portal to go to the previous day or the next day. We want to be able to see the parent, meaning the month and week that this daily note falls into, and then I have a couple of links that goes to my Todoist or Google Calendar. Next thing that we want is we want a morning review. So that's when you wake up and you want to say how long you've slept, what your sleeping rating was, and your wake up time. And then your log morning is just where you prepare for the day. So this would be things to get done, extra things if you feel like it, and just pull in your schedule, write down your schedule for the day, and also pull in tasks from other notes within your PKM system. The next is a log. So let's just actually write that down. So we want a type of morning review. Within the morning review, so a couple of subheadings, which we'll get to. The next is a log. So this is where we will capture all our log details. So let's say you are interested in logging your food. This is where you would log what you are eating. If you're interested in logging your exercising or your activity or active time, this is where you would log that. Your habits would also be tracked here, and if you're interested in time tracking, this would also be the place to be. And you guessed it, friends and family, we have evening review. And in the evening review, this is where you're going to give a short summary of your day. For me, I've never watched Friends, but I do like the way they name the episodes, where they say the day that. So that forces you to think of what different happened today, which stands out. And when you look across this daily note in your weekly note, where you would pull in that, hey, what happened today, you can easily see that the day that I found a unicorn in my backyard and it pooped rainbows. Great. That is going to be the highlight of your day, and you'll pull it through to your weekly, and your weekly will pull it through to your monthly, and your monthly will pull it through to your yearly. So let's start with the YAML front-end matter. So I'm going to keep this as simple as possible. I went through a phase where I had a lot of YAML front-end matter, and I've discovered that it just clutters your mind. So we're going to keep it as simple as possible. So we want type, and the type is going to be daily. For your weekly template, actually notice that I'm doing this on this day and not the daily note template. So let's copy and go to daily note. Great. So we want the type. The type is daily. For the weekly, it would be weekly, monthly, and yearly. And here's where the twist comes in. It will be yearly. We have date. We want to capture the date. And the reason why we want to capture it is sometimes you want to use the date that this note was created on in order to write some queries. For us, I'm not too sure if we use this metadata field anywhere, but the point is it's good habit to get into, just to specify the date at the top in case you ever need it in the future. So TP, so first of all, I'm going to have a smaller as sign, percentage, space, TP for templater that somebody gave me a comment in the previous video, so thank you for that, because I was very lazy to Google that. tp.file.title, and I just zoom in, and we're going to have percentage sign, we're going to have bigger or greater as sign. So great, there we have our date, and that's essentially all that we need for our YAML frontend matter. The next thing that I'm going to do, what I normally put in, is just navigational portal, and this is where we have prev. It's going to be a metadata field, and we're going to have 2 open square brackets. So what this does is all the code that templater is going to push through when you actually create this node is going to be encapsulated in these 2 square brackets. And what that means, it's going to be a link and it's going to be clickable. So you're essentially creating a little button for yourself. So we're going to have smaller, we're going to have %, tp.date.now, open brackets, quotes, year, dash, month, dash, day, close the quotes, comma, -1. So we're going to take TP of date now in the format of year, month, day, and we're going to go 1 day back. And we have tp.file.title, and what we want this new notes that we are referring to, what format do we want it in? We want the same format, year, month, day, and then we're going to move outside of the brackets, and we're going to have % and greater as sign. Now we have our previous note. Okay, so let's Control C and go to the next line and let's paste. So let's just create some distance between the two. Okay, so we have TP date now, same code, and this is +1 day. Great. So this one is previous day, this one is next day, and now we want the parent. So you guessed it. Let's Control V to paste, and we're going to change the name to parent. And here we want the same thing. So we want TP of date now in this format. We want today's date, TP file title, year, month. Cool. That's great. So this is the parent title. One thing we need to change is we actually want the month. So we're going to take out the day. So what this is going to return is today's date. Give me the month of TP date now, 0 days from now. And we want it in the format of year, month, day. So it's just telling you how to look up for the TP date now. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure what everything means exactly. Just play around until I find something that works. This works. Okay, let's close it down with a %, greater as sign, and we want to, okay, so I'll see what it's doing. So we have to double click in order to see the square brackets to switch that off, because it would get a little bit irritating if you code quite a bit. You would want to go to live to editor, default editing mode, and we're going to say source mode. So currently it's on live preview in edit mode, but in editing mode we want source mode. Live preview has its value when you already finished writing the code. It just looks prettier, but for us source mode is better. So change to source mode. Now we can see, so here we're pulling in the previous day, next day we're pulling in the current month, and now we want to pull in the current week. So we can take exactly the same code that worked, just trust that it does. And we're going to put a little comma and paste. And now what we want to change is we want to change to square brackets. So after year, we're going to have a dash, open square brackets, you're going to have a big W or uppercase W, and you're going to have small w and small case W, and the rest should stay the same. So as always, when you are creating something new, there's always room for bugs to creep in. So test. So let's delete our daily note on the 25th and let's create it again. Okay, so let's click on the 25th, create, happiness. So now we can see we can go to the previous day, we can go to the next day. We have a link to our monthly note and we have a link to the weekly note. So the weekly corresponds with the calendar, week 4. And you must just make sure that in the calendar, your week note format would be the same, but I think it's more important in your periodic notes that we're going to use that you also keep it the default format. So this just says here it gives a showcase of what it actually looks like in the type of format, and that's what we want. Great. So if you go to reading mode, you can see that 26 is grayed out, but if you click on it, it does not create a new one. So this is another bug we need to investigate. Right, so this is going to be a problem which basically means you can't create it from the current note. So if you go back to the 25th, we can't create it from here. You can definitely click it and it will create a blank page. But now what you need to do is you need to say Control P, you need to type in templater and you choose your template, which is the daily note template. And then nothing happens, of course, nothing happens. Let's try it again, templater. So there's sometimes just a little bit of bugs And sometimes you just need to restart your Obsidian. It is what it is, but let's try one more time. Otherwise we'll restart. So we deleted the 26th. Let's go back to the 25th and let's click on the new note. Control P, templater, daily note template. Great. Okay, now we'll see the code has automatically filled in the previous, the next, the parent. So let's go back to our daily note template. I'm going to get them a little bit closer to each other because one love, you know. And next thing that we want to do is just create a link to Google or Todoist or the other task tracker. So this would be as easy as, let's just create a separation line. So dash, 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 and you need a space between the previous code. So dash, 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 just create a line. So if you go to reading mode, you can see I have a nice little gray separation there. And then we want to just press Control K, and that would create a link of sorts. Here you can just say Google Calendar link, and you just put in the link, the URL between these brackets, googlecalendar.com, because I'm going to put my details here, and press Control K again. We're going to say tracking app, and then put in the link of your tracking app here. So if you go to reading mode, we can see, cool, everything is sorted. What I like to do is I like to put a little bit of an indent. So at the beginning, you just put bigger as sign in front of everything, and obviously personal preference. My personal preference is for my PKM system to look nice. If you are different and you don't want yours to look nice, that is your problem. So previous, next, parent. We have Google Calendar link, we have tracking app, and let's get into the morning review. Okay, so let's continue. So in our daily note template, we have the 3 categories that we would want to fill in. And these are things that I fill in, which you might use, you might not use, but through trial and error, I've found it to be useful, and I use it on a daily basis. First one is let's change this to good morning. Hey, now say it back. And what we want to do is, first of all, we want to log morning. Just keep it consistent. And first of all, we have log sleep hours. So this is just a metadata field, which I use every day to track my sleep hours, how many hours I've slept. I keep the default as 0. Log sleep rating. Let's break it down a little bit more. So we're going off topic, but it's my videos. I want to talk about what I want. So I use a scale of -2 to 2. So that means my sleep can be terrible, and I'll have -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So 2 is the best score that you can get. -2 is the worst score you can get. The way I roughly calculate all these ratings, which is going to be from a -2 to 2 scale, is through 3 subjects specifically for sleep. First category is how fast it took me to fall asleep. So if it's within 5 minutes, I would say that is a 2. If I didn't wake up throughout the night and didn't, I don't know, just wake up, I would say that's also a 2. If I did wake up a lot of the times or a lot throughout the night, that would be a -2. And then in the morning, how groggy did I feel when waking up? So I just take a rough estimate of log sleep rating, and I keep the default at 0, but just, my scale is useful as -2 to 2. We'll be using it as we go along with my examples. Then we have log wake time. And this is just the time that I wake up. So this would be something like, hey, I woke up at 5:30 this morning. Cool, that is the time. Next thing that we want is we want log morning. So I try to journal a little bit more. If you're not convinced that journaling is beneficial, I would recommend just to try it, and don't just try it for 2 weeks. Try it for at least 2 months, because it does help you clear your mind. And I found it valuable. You obviously don't have to use it, but here you're just going to say, this morning I woke up groggy, found a froggy, and pet a doggy. Something like that. That's your morning. Yeah, it was a cool morning. But we'll keep this as blank because this is something we're going to fill in every morning. Then we're going to go to planning our day. So things to get done today, and let's add an icon here. So this is going to be Windows key and full stop. I don't know what it is in the Mac, but Windows, it's Windows key and full stop, and it brings up this emoji bar, and let's say check, and let's use this checkbox. And here we're just going to put a checkbox for ourselves. So if you go to reading mode, we can see that it's a checkbox, and we can start filling it in. Call me mum. Okay. So then I know things I have to get done today is call me mum, and I can uncheck it. Great. So it's just like a little bit of a to-doist or to-do list, and you can either choose it to do it here, which I always have my daily notes open. So for things that I know is just very specific to that day, why not have it here? If you have more things to track, I recommend using a tracking app and just track everything within that app. I'm going to have another heading, and we're going to say extra things if I feel like it. So the first one is just playing around with the idea of what is the most important thing that you want to get done today. And if you get that thing done, you'll go to bed a happy person. Extra things, if I feel like it, is just if you are very productive. Let's say challenge Elon Musk to a musketeering duel to the death. Something like that. So extra things. Make $1 billion. Okay, so if you have a checkbox like this, if you press enter, it's going to disappear. You can press shift enter in order to go to the next line, and then it won't delete it. Next subheading that we want is schedule, and that is how you pronounce it, not schedule. And here we just want to say, okay, meetings planned for today. So let's say at 2 p.m. I have meeting with Mark Tilworth. So then we just want to add an icon as well. So Windows dots key, and here we want calendar, and let's just use that bad boy, and there we go. So now we have good morning. Now say it back. We can fold it, unfold it to see our morning review, and that is it for the morning log. So now we want to get to the next part, which is log. So here there's a couple of things we want to track. I've got a little bit obsessed with tracking over the last month or two just to see if I can derive any benefits from it. I'm a person that likes to test everything and throw it at the wall and see what sticks. To me, I find it very satisfying to look over the week and month and see how much coffees I drank, how much exercise I've done, how much water did I drink, how much sleep did I have, what was my sleep rating. And from there, if you have that data in a clean format, which is what we're going to do here, you can derive a lot of insights. And I would imagine that over time, those insights would compound, and you can trace back, okay, this might be because I had really terrible sleep 2 nights prior to today. So we're going to break this log up into the different categories. Let's say the first one is going to be exercise. The next one is going to be consumables. Next one is going to be habits. And then lastly, we have time tracking. If you do time tracking, which it won't hurt to test it out. So let's find some icons. So for exercise, let's go for a run, and a shoe signifies that it's exercise. Consumables, I would say that would be knife and fork, so plate. Great. Then we have habites, that is how you pronounce it, and don't know why the Joker card is coming up here, but let's go with it. Time tracking, let's go for swatch, and that looks good to me. Cool. So within these categories, we want to use the log system in order to capture this information. So what I like to do is log cycling. And let's say I would cycle 7 kilometers a day, I would put in 7. If it's log squats, then I would say, okay, today I had 250 squats. So what I normally do is I have something like this, which I start out with the general exercising that I just do throughout the day whenever in between meetings. And then whichever one I did not use, I just delete. I found it easier. Pretty sure there's more of a way of doing it. But for exercise, I just keep like a list of the general things that I do every day. Cycling I do every day, and I'll definitely do 2 to 3 of these every day. And then you can add to it as well. And later, we'll create the homepage that captures all the exercise information. Next is consumables. So how I like to break this up, and you can choose what your poison is and how you want it visualized. We just do a little bit of a bullet point. So the plus and minus, just if you go to reading mode, you can just see it's bullet points. So you can either use plus, you can use minus, or you can use star. I sometimes use different ones, because if, let's say, I take star and first line, second line, and this is squares, not lines. You can see that if you go to reading mode, it stacks it quite close to each other. even if you have a space in between. If you have a space in between, it ungroups everything and it gives a lot of space, even if these first two are close to each other. So what happens is, and I hope this works, if you put a minus, it groups the first two together. So it has some recognition of that, hey, this person probably wants to group all these things together. Now if we go to reading mode and we do a space, you can see that we have successfully grouped everything. And I wonder if I put a space in here, what it's going to do. It's just going to break up that last three. So you can see it's just a visually more pleasing way that you can arrange your little bullet points. Okay, so for consumables, what I have is log water, and you put in 2 colons, and we start the day off with 0. Then we have log coffee, and we start the day with 0. So if you drink a lot of tea or drink a lot of other liquids, then you'll obviously put it here. And then what I like to do is log food, and this is a place where I would just say, today I had lentil chicken salad for lunch. I had a biscuit with my coffee, had some goat, and for dinner I had Cheetos. Why not? Don't even like Cheetos. So this is just a general description of what you ate that day. So it is not too technical. It is just very conversational, and this is just also for the long term that you can have some data. And then where the numeric system comes in is the next one, where you say healthy eating, and this is where you say -2 for very unhealthy, 2 for very healthy, and 0 for very neutral, not healthy, not unhealthy, but yeah, there's room for improvement. Okay, so let's just take this out, and yeah, been saying these metadata names, it is very subjective to what you prefer. To me, I've been using these guys: log sleep hours, log sleep rating, log wake up time. You can see with the log system, this is not exactly how I structure my people's templates. With people's templates, I normally just have log, and then the way I can filter through it is I would have a specific icon that says, say, movie. So if I watched a movie, I would have this little symbol, and then in my movie MOC or homepage, I would specify a data query that would look for log, and within log, if it detects a camera, then return it. The problem I found with that, with regards to log cycling, log squats, log lunges, and just these other things that we want to measure, when you want to try and do calculations on these type of log measures, it's quite difficult to do. So I prefer to have metadata fields that is very unique in order to use them in data queries where I can do calculations on them. So for the week, I want to see how much water I consumed in my weekly note, and my monthly note, I want to see how much water and coffee I consumed over the entire month. This is something you're interested in. I would recommend that you have distinctive metadata fields instead of the normal log system, which I do use, and it does have its benefits, especially within the meeting and people note context. But for my daily note, I don't see too much value in it. Okay, so that's just a short little side tangent. Then for habits, this is going to be anything that you, so let's say today did I exercise, and metadata field of exercise, and I'm going to put a check mark for myself. Did I do meditation? Metadata field, double colon, let's say guitar practice. Let's keep that for now, but you can add as many metadata fields that you want there. And then time tracking, that is a separate video which will come out in the future, where I'm going to talk more on if you want to track every second of your day. Again, as an experiment, just to see what conclusions you can draw from how you're spending your time, because you can't manage what you can't measure or what you don't measure. So that is a video that will come out in probably like a month's time. But I have decided that I have a few critical areas that I can track my time in, and it's creative time, and this is just YouTube videos that I'm creating. I feel that that is creative time spent, or writing, that's also creative time spent. It is time where I'm actually producing something. Then I have the good old distraction time. So this is time where I'm not really doing anything productive. I'm not doing anything of enjoyment to myself. So if I'm gaming or playing Dota, I enjoy that time. I won't say it's distraction time, it is playtime. So distraction time is just where you zombieing out and doing nothing, not even watching TV, just staring at the wall. That's distraction. Then you have maintenance time. So this is getting ready in the morning, getting coffee, getting stuff like that. That's maintenance. I would even bracket shopping and stuff like that into the maintenance category. So that's stuff that you need to do in order to stay alive, I would imagine. Then we have personal development time, and this is just studying or learning something new. So reading would also fall into this category. Then we have playtime, and this would be socializing, playing games, watching TV. Then we have relationship time. This could be with your significant other or with family or with friends where you make time for them, and it's separate from socializing. I would imagine relationship time is just like one-on-one or make time for a phone call, something like that. And then we have wellness time, and this would be how many hours of sleep are you getting in? Are you taking necessary breaks, deserved lunches or breakfast events that you enjoy, which add to your wellness? I would think that meditation would also fall under wellness time. And then lastly, we have work time. So this could be, for me, I'm a consultant by trade, and I have internal work and then I have client work. So this work time will encompass everything that you do on work time. So if it's internal work for your company that you're doing, or it's for work for your company for a client, everything related to work. So this would be admin related to work, would all fall under this category. Okay. And lastly, let's move to our evening review. So evening review, the type of things that we want is we want a log day review. And this is just the day that I made history by licking a wet candle fire. Don't really care if that makes sense or not, because it definitely does not. But like I said earlier, I like the idea of friends and how they name the episodes. So it'd always say the day that, and I quite like this. So this is where you would give a 2 to 3 sentence summary of the most significant things that happened in your day. And then as always, we'll have a log day. So normally when I publish a YouTube video, my day tends to be better. And that's because I felt I put in, or I did enough work in order to make this presentable and getting to the point of clicking publish. It's always a nice feeling, even though I enjoy the work that goes into these videos. But that's an insight that I'm picking up. And if that is something that creates a good day for myself, which in turn would create a good week if I have enough good days, that would spill over into the months, into the years, and ultimately our goal in this life should be to live a happy life. Not an easy life, but a happy life. So this again is just to have a review system in place that in a year or even just in a month, you can go back to and see, okay, this day I classified it as a good day. Very critical that you do the rating on the day, because our brains are fallible and the next day you won't remember how you actually felt today. So it's just to go back, like today I gave a rating of 2, which meant it was exceptional. I can go back and collect or write a query, very simple query, which we'll go through in the home note of show me the days that I classified as a good day, and I can learn from it with all the other things that we were tracking. So if it was a really bad day, we want to be able to do the same thing. Really bad day might meant that, okay, cool, I actually did not get any sleep in. Sleep rating was shit. So bad sleep equals bad day. Let's improve my sleep. And I think the ultimate goal of any PKM system is to improve your life. So we have log day rating, and then something that I bring into play is songs of the day. And then I have a log, and then I just have a little icon. Let's say music. I actually like the other one more. So Windows key and stop typing in music, and let's take, I don't know which music icon, so let's go with this one. And we'll say, this is where you'll just put in the song of the day, basically. So you can choose to make this log song of the day, or you can just have log and we'll capture the specific field through the little icon. Yeah. So let's just leave it like this. We can always change it later, and we will probably change a lot of these things as we go through these videos. So you have to kind of follow along in chronological order. Unfortunately, you can't just go to the end, which is good for me. but also not really good for me because I'm not getting any money from it yet. And the next thing that we want, I'm thinking, is files that we created this day. Okay, so which files we created this day. And again, let's just pick an icon file. Let's pick this little beggar, and now we want to write a data view query. So we're gonna have this little icons at the top left next to most keyboards 1 button, so the number 1, the top left of your keyboard, right next to it. And we'll go with data view. We want a list where file dot created day is equal to date, and we're going to have some templater code, which is greater small as sign percentage sign tp dot file title percentage sign greater as sign, and then we want to sort the files by created time descending. And let's just quickly do another data view query, and then we'll test out what it looks like once we can see what the code does and which files were last modified on this day. Which files were modified last this day? That's why grammar matters. And let's just click another icon because we are aesthetic reincarnated as a, let's go for this filing system. And here we can just copy over this data view query, and we need to make a couple of changes. So let's just say where file dot modified day, so this is inbuilt queries, it's data automatically stored on a page every time you create a page, is equal to tp file.title. So just going to go to this specific node's name where it equals tp file title, and we know that our name is going to be a date. So therefore it should pick up where file modified equals this specific date. Okay, let's see if we have anything broken. Let's click on 26 after we've deleted that note already. And from the top, if we go to reading mode, we can see we have made a couple of mistakes, but mistakes good. So we can see that our heading folding did not work as expected because we obviously made a mistake. And the reason for that is we have good morning, but then our log is 2332. Should have worked. So good morning, log evening. Okay, great. No, it actually did work. So we have good morning, I'll say it back. We have log, we have evening review. We have all the links to the previous day, to the next day. Now if you open up good morning, now say it back, we can see we have our log morning. We have things to get done today, extra. These are our morning reviews. And then for log, we have all these nice little things. We'll fill it in as we go on throughout our day. Then we have log day review. Just need to fix that spelling mistake, which we'll do now. And we have log day ratings, songs of the day, and this is just a heading, which we'll also fix. Which files were created this date? We can see that there is still some issues here, and that is because we did not activate the data view plugin. So you can see that we are specifying we want a data view, but if we go to settings, if we go to community plugins and we go for search or browse community plugins, we need to install data view and install. So once you install and enable, hopefully it works automatically, but otherwise you need to restart your Obsidian, or first try to just close down the note and reopen the note. And yeah, there you go, just give it time. So now we have which files were created this day. This file was created today. Which files were modified on this day? We modified 25, we modified the daily note, we modified this. So it's quite a nice way to see what you worked on that specific day. And keep in mind that if you work on this 25 again the next day, it will probably not show up because which files were modified last on this day. So you can see the last time I modified this file was on this day, but if I work on this file every single day, the modified date would change. So this is quite ugly. So I'm going to make some aesthetic changes. With these aesthetic changes, we are going to touch on callouts because I want my things to look good in order for me to use it. If it does not look good, which at the moment it doesn't, I would like to change it. So let's go back into our daily note template. There's a couple of things that we want to do. First thing we want to do is we want to put these guys into buckets of callouts. So a callout is if you start with a greater as sign, a space, square brackets, have a exclamation mark and press spacebar and say info or something like that. You can see that it creates this little callout, and we can even add an entire heading into that. Good morning, I'll say it back. Unfortunately, you can't fold it then, but that's fine. You get the idea. So let's get this away and we make another example for the subheading. So we can now see that everything in the subheading, if there's no spaces, gets included into this callout. But we know that log morning should be part of this little heading. So what you do is you click in front of all of them and you put a greater as sign and a space. You do the same for the next line and the next line and the next line, which is a empty line. You're going to do the same, and then it needs to all connect with the greater as signs. And now we see that it has included the final one. Now it's a nice little way to break it up and see where it needs to split. So let's do the same for all of them. So what I do is shift enter, and then automatically fills it in if you go into a blank line. So shift enter, press delete to bring this little buddy in. Greater as sign, and greater as sign space. And now if you go here, we can see, cool, this have been included. Let's the schedule as well to do, and let's add meeting with Mark Shuttleworth, which you also need to delete because this needs to be empty, but I think it holds for the example. So let's just keep this and make another example. Meeting A, meeting B. We'll delete it later, but for now, for you just get used to it. And now, if we go back, we can see that we're going to have the title and we're going to have good morning, I'll say it back, and we have everything included in this. So this is all good and well. Extra things that I feel we forgot to add a icon here. So Windows key check. Let's go here. Now we have a nice little breakdown and log morning. So one thing that we want to do here is we want to change this callouts. So the callouts, they have a couple of different styles that you can do, and we did have a video on it. So I'll put the link to that video somewhere on the screen. But the different types of callouts that you get is the blank one, should just be the normal one with the little stencil. Then you have danger, I think. Okay, no you don't. Let's just make a space to make sure it's not danger. Okay, cool. You have danger. Then you have warning, which would be orange, but unfortunately they all come with the own little icons. So there's no way to do it without having to go into the backend, but that's what we are going to do now, because I like to have more like a gray color palette, but I also want you to be able to customize your callouts to exactly what you want. I'm going to rush through this because there is a video that would explain exactly how you can create your custom callout. So what we're going to do in order to create our custom callouts is we're going to go to settings. We're going to go to files and links. We're going to go to appearance. CSS snippets at the bottom. We're going to say open snippets folder. And once that snippets folder is opened, it will open your file navigation. You can see that there's nothing here. You're going to right click. You're going to say create new text document, I think. Yeah, oh well. And let's call this callout customized. Let's open it up. And then immediately what you want to do is you want to save as. And we're going to change the name at the end to .css instead of the .text. So save it. And you can see it creates another one. So let's just close this one and we can delete the original one that's not a CSS file, but a text document. Let's delete that one, open up callout customs, and now this is this place where you're probably going to have to pause a little bit, because you can just pause here and copy this code. But yeah, so we have this little top part. So anything in between these characters just says that this is not code. This is just an explanation of what this code below it does. So it's almost like a heading. And then you just have dot callout, data callout. So it just writes everything down. With these spaces, just make sure it's a tab distance. So if it's at the beginning, you want a dash dash, but you want tab to make this separation. I don't think it would work otherwise. Just fill in everything exactly the same. If you want to change the icon, so what icon I'm going to use is a clipboard. This is not the one I want. let's change it to, it is the one I want. Okay, so we have a clipboard icon, and then for the next one, which is going to be the morning callout review, that's going to be sun icon. So we have Lucide sun. Again, if you don't understand what I'm doing, just go watch the other video or just copy and go ahead. If you want to change the colors, if you want to change how it looks, go watch. But essentially, I've just created a custom callout for the log, for the morning review, and then the evening review. And you can see the icons that I'm going to use is Lucide moon, Lucide sun, and Lucide clipboard. And there's just a website where it gets these little icons from. So now if I save, and this might take a minute or two to reflect on the Obsidian side, but we can close, minimize this, and we can go back to the Obsidian, can click reload snippets. You'll see there's a new option that appears, and it picked up that there's a new file in this folder. You're going to say enable. Cool. Great. Now we're going to go back and we're going to test this. So these are the callouts that we originally have. Let's say we want the sun one. So now we have a gray bar with the sun, and that's exactly what I want. We have a clipboard, which I think won't, okay, great, clipboard. And then we have a moon for the evening review. So I'm a plain guy, I like monotonous colors. And let's start incorporating them into our daily note. So Control E, what we're going to do here is we're going to change this from info to sun, and then the part behind it. If you put anything here, if you go to reading mode, you can see that it changes the default name to whatever you put. And you can also have a plus, which would automatically keep everything below it open so that you can see it. Or you can put a minus, which would automatically collapse it, and then you can open it up like this. So for this, we have the sun, log morning review. So let's see what it looks like. So we have log morning, rating log, wake up, log morning, cool. This already looks much better to me. Let's just delete these guys, and then we want the moon. So let's do the same for our log. But before we get there, let's just change where this starts, because at the moment it does not start at good morning. Now say it back. So let's just change the sun to be at the level 2 heading, and then we want to change up our level 3 heading just a little bit. And here we are going to say Windows dot, and we have a clipboard just to make sure that it looks consistent with other things. So log morning, things get done, extra things, schedule. So this really looks quite nice to me. We can just delete the moon, and then we can see for our log morning, now say it back, it looks good. We can say we want a minus to automatically collapse it, and then we can open it up and close it as we go along. So now we're going to do the same for log. So for log, we have greater as, we have square brackets, exclamation mark, and we have clipboard. And then let's start filling in these guys. So it's a little bit tedious, but you get the idea. So while I'm doing this, how have you been? What's life? The wife and kids? Good? Good. That's wonderful. And anything new that you learned today? Anything exciting you can tell me? Oh, no ways. That's exciting. I'm listening. You are a good storyteller. So you see, there's a lot of tedious work that goes into setting up something like this, but hopefully it would pay off, because you just have to do it once and then you never have to do it again. That's the beauty of templates. And we're almost done. Okay, so does that not look like heaven? That's not heaven, and I don't know what is. Let's put a little minus in order to make it foldable, but we'll sort it out. Oh no, so this is just in a template. If you go to reading mode, the data view query obviously does not know what this is, because templates fills this in and makes this a actual variable. But when you go to reading mode, it obviously doesn't know what it is. So this is not an error, even though it looks like one. And lastly, we want to do the same for our evening review. So evening review, greater sign, space, square brackets, exclamation mark, and moon is our callout name. We want to make it collapsible, and let's do the same for log day. And then for data views, it gets a little bit tricky in order to get it into a callout. But what you can do is you're going to create the greater sign, and you're going to press delete just before the data view query on the next line, and first space and then delete, I think. Then you go and do the rest, and we'll see if this works or not. Okay, it seems like it's fine, and let's just do the same. So whenever you put it in a callout, you can delete the last 3 reverse quotes, I guess, reverse single quotes. And let's do the same for these guys. Which files? Let's make this level 3 heading, and this is going to be a level 3 heading. And we do the same for the data view. And there might be some issues here, but we'll figure it out as we go along, and delete this. So let's make this moon minus. It's already minus. So now we have everything. Good morning. Now say it back. Great. We have log. Great. We have evening review. Great. So let's test it out. So first things first, let's go back to our 26. Let's delete it and let's create it again. So if you go to reading mode, let's just see what it's done. Good morning. Now say it back. Great. That works fine. Log tracking works fine. This is not fine. So it's not liking row 5. So let's go back to daily note templates. Let's go into edit mode and let's see what problem seems to be. And let's do this. And I don't think the problem would be solved, but let's try. It's good to problem solve with me. Okay, still not working. So let's go back to daily note template. So let's just first break out of this and see where we've gone wrong. It's always nice to see somebody problem solve because you learn something new. Okay, so let's just first see if the one outside of the callout works. Go to 26, delete, great, create again, and okay, that does not work. But why does it not work? Maybe there should be a space, list, where file. Don't know. Let's try again and create 26. Okay, so that works. So now let's first get that to work within a callout, and we want to bring the data view in. So let's see what it does if we do this too. And we can see the last little line looks weird. Just delete it. So don't know if it's a bug or not, but we don't need it. And let's do this again. It's exciting. I like spending time with you. Okay, so that worked. So now we just need to do the same for the top one, which could just be an issue like this. So what we've done is we just added a space here and we added a gap just to problem solve. We'll fix it as soon as we can see that it is working within the callout. Go to reading mode, evening review, and we can see that that does work. So now we just need to combine them, add a little bit of space in between, and let's try this again. So sorry, what we've done now is just remove a couple of the lines. We removed that bottom callout and added it into the original callout. So we're going to go back, delete file 26, great, and evening review, and okay, let me problem solve. So what I'm thinking is it's these guys that throws the data view query off. We'll take them away again just to problem solve. Don't think this would help, but we'll see. Everything is there. Okay, next thing that we want to do is let's just see if we revert back to the level 3 headings. Just keep it there, and then we want to separate it by putting in between. We want to put another greater as sign. So all that we've done is we added some breakpoints, and let's delete file. And let's go to number 26. And okay, so it's still saying that there's an issue between line 4 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That doesn't make sense. Final check. Let's add these breakpoints, see what it does. So this is how you problem solve things that's not working, but I'll definitely add a breakpoint so that you guys can go to the finished solution for all you impatient people. So it does work. So it's definitely it is the callout that screws it up a little bit, but the way we're going to fix it is we are going to do this. So we have the song of the day, so we're just going to add a indented line. So what this means is just a little bit more indented. So we have the song of the day and we have the log, cool. And then we're going to have a big one again. And then these ones are going to be indented ones again. So song of the day, which we should also actually make indented to make it on the same line. And there's almost like a breakpoint, and then we're going to have all of these as a little bit of an indented line in order for the code to tell the difference between this code and the next block of code. So it should look like this, and if I manage to do this, then I think I might just be a genius. Okay, so let's delete. Note, let's go and create 26 again. And easy, first try, give me a challenge. So now we have this nice little system. We have song of the day, which I'll just do. It should also be a heading now that I think about it. And evening review, that's fine. I think it looks all right. Let's just delete this note one more time. And now we have a nice little structure. So I'm quite happy with this. It gives you everything you need for a good daily system. You have previous, next, log morning, log evening. I think I'm also going to bring in just how to tie people into this note, and we'll also have how to tie meeting notes. So what I recommend is for people chats, like coffee chats that you have and stuff that you want to remember, you'll have a similar log system, which let's say you had a conversation with somebody today. What I normally do is I have it here at the beginning. So before my good morning, evening, basically have all the special daily related things I normally enter here at the front. So I'll have something like log chat with Elon Musk. And what my code will do is I'll put in a little icon, speak, chat, talk, noise, sound. Sure, what the icon is. Okay, it is bubble. So chat with Elon, people, advanced people note template video. We talk through how to set this up so that if you have a log chat with Elon where we discussed how the sun is actually a freezer, your geezer, set chats to Elisa. Okay, so where we discuss how the sun is actually a freezer. So this is something that is very insightful to you and you want to remember this conversation you've had. In that video, link somewhere on the screen, you will figure out how to do this from your daily notes and make it automatically pick up within the Elon Musk page. And then obviously if you have a project related where Elon Musk is the only participant in a project, you can have code where it includes a specific person, meaning Elon, and let's say project 1. So then you'll pick up this line under project and this line under Elon. I would recommend for more substantial information where you want bullet points and you want to elaborate on a subject, which you normally have to do in projects, I would recommend creating a meeting note, which would then be pulled into your project. But I did make a video on meeting notes. So find this somewhere on the page, the link to that video. But this is going to be something that we'll be using throughout the day. It's also just to capture. He also mentioned to read the book, Building a Second Brain. And then I'll say something like to read, and then I can have another homepage that pulls in all the book related items because I've specified with my emoji book. So what this does is this log, this is where the log becomes quite powerful, just the log metadata field, because this is not very specific, but this log is going to send the chat with Elon Musk to Elon Musk. It is going to pick it up in projects, in your projects homepage, and it's going to pick up that we spoke about book Building a Second Brain to read. And because of this icon, it's going to send it to the book map of content or homepage as well. So this is where the log becomes quite powerful, but it is a combination of the previous 2 videos. So I would recommend that you become comfortable with it. Or what you can do is just follow along in the upcoming videos where you just have to copy over the code exactly how I say it without understanding it. That is also an option. So yeah, I think that is it for this video. Next video, we will start building out the different home pages, and we'll also start building out the weekly notes. Don't think we'll touch on a monthly just yet. Maybe that will be in upcoming videos, but we'll create a weekly note for week 4, and we'll be able to automatically tie up most of the information that we have put into our logs, consumables, time tracking, all of those nice little things. Log sleep hours will be converted automatically into or channeled automatically into our weekly note. So as you can see, this by itself is not valuable. We would need to combine it with upcoming videos in order for you to understand how this pipeline works. But I hope you can already see how everything from the daily note gets captured, especially with this log function. Everything else is very specific metadata fields, and we use this in order to do summations of the entire sleep ratings that you had, all the amounts of hours you slept throughout the week. But take what you want from this video. I would recommend just following along with a new vault step by step, or if you are adventurous, try it in your current vault or elements of it. But in the future videos, we'll need some of these elements that we've built to continue our journey. So this is a little bit of work, but if you're interested, I hope you are going to enjoy this journey. Cheerio, till next time, strength and honor.